In 2023, researchers from USC and Stanford analyzed over 15,000 genetic profiles to answer a question that has quietly shaped modern science for decades. What exactly is written inside the DNA of Black Americans, and how does it compare to Europeans? What they discovered challenged assumptions that had gone unexamined for generations. When scientists from the University of Pennsylvania and Cornell studied DNA from Black Americans, West Africans, and Europeans, they expected to find a relatively simple genetic picture. Instead, they found enormous variation. Some Black Americans carried as little as 1% African ancestry, while others carried as much as 99%. Two people who both identify as Black American can have completely different genetic backgrounds. One person's DNA may closely resemble someone from Nigeria, while another's may resemble someone from rural Ireland. The science confirmed something history already hinted at. Black American is not a single genetic category. It is a cultural and historical identity shaped by centuries of migration, survival, and forced displacement. On average, Black Americans carry roughly 73 to 82% African ancestry and about 16 to 24% European ancestry. But the origin of that European DNA tells a darker story. Genetic studies revealed that European ancestry in Black Americans came overwhelmingly from European men, while African ancestry came primarily from African women. The genome itself preserves the legacy of slavery and the systematic abuse of enslaved African women by white enslavers. But modern DNA science is also restoring identities that history tried to erase. For centuries, enslaved Africans were recorded as cargo instead of people. Their ethnic groups, languages, and kingdoms were stripped away. Today, genetic research is reconnecting Black Americans to those lost origins. Studies from 23andMe and other institutions traced ancestry back to specific African populations, including the Yoruba of Nigeria, the Igbo, the Akan of Ghana, the Wolof of Senegal, the Mandinka of Gambia and Mali, and the Congo of Central Africa. These were not primitive tribes. They were advanced civilizations with political systems, trade networks, scholarship, and culture long before European colonization. The science becomes even more fascinating when researchers compare African and European genetic diversity. Africa is the most genetically diverse continent on Earth because modern humans originated there over 300,000 years ago. Every non-African population descends from a relatively small group of humans who left Africa carrying only a fraction of its genetic diversity. Scientists describe it like this. Imagine Africa as a bowl containing 10,000 unique marbles. A small group leaves with only 200. The rest of the world is built from those 200 marbles, while Africa still contains the full set. This means Black Americans carry some of the deepest and most diverse human genetic lineages ever studied. Researchers also discovered genetic variants in African populations that barely exist in Europeans. One example is the APOL1 gene, which evolved to protect against African sleeping sickness spread by tsetse flies. Another is the sickle cell trait, which provides protection against malaria when only one copy is inherited. These traits were not random mutations. They were survival adaptations shaped over thousands of years in some of the harshest disease environments on Earth. Then came one of the most shocking discoveries. In 2016, scientists studying immune cells found that macrophages from Black Americans destroyed certain bacteria 3 times faster than those from European Americans. Researchers concluded that African ancestry is associated with a stronger inflammatory immune response, shaped by thousands of years of exposure to parasites and infectious diseases across Africa. European immune systems evolved differently. Part of that difference came from interbreeding with Neanderthals after humans migrated into Europe roughly 100,000 years ago. About 4% of the modern European genome still contains Neanderthal DNA, particularly in immune-related genes. The immune systems of Black Americans and Europeans were shaped by entirely different evolutionary histories on different continents over tens of thousands of years. But perhaps the most powerful discovery is this. Despite slavery, forced migration, erased identities, and centuries of oppression, the African genetic legacy endured. The genome remembers everything. It remembers kingdoms, migrations, survival, adaptation, violence, and resilience. And what modern science is now revealing is that Black Americans carry within them one of the oldest, richest, and most diverse genetic inheritances in human history.